Thunder Bay is left off the strong mayor powers list. The library releases its master facilities plan. And the latest on the tragic Manitoba highway crash. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Riley McManus. Ontario's strong mayor powers are being expanded to 26 additional municipalities across the province, but Thunder Bay isn't one of them. The contingent powers have been in place in Toronto and Ottawa since last December. The provincial government now plans to give those powers to cities like Hamilton, Niagara Falls, and Windsor, to name a few. The aim is to help regions expedite housing construction.
So they include being able to choose a chief administrative officer, that's being able to hire certain department heads to create committees on certain functions as related to our extension of strong mayor powers. Everything we've done, whether it be vetoing certain bylaws that don't meet our provincial priorities, it's all around ensuring that those mayors have the tools to ensure that they meet their obligations of the pledge that they made, the housing pledge that they made, but at the same time ensure that, that as the Premier and I have telegraphed many times, that we want to make sure that everyone is set up for success.
Officials with the City of Thunder Bay say they in Sudbury were not formally invited to be part of the strong mayor's process back in the fall because of the two cities' low population growth. Mayor Ken Boshkoff was in Toronto today for the large urban mayors meeting when the announcement was made. He says the city's official plan already has all the tools in place with enough open lots available to facilitate speedy approvals for new housing projects.
Well, as near as I can figure is that when the request came in November, we felt that we did have an official plan in place and that we were able to do this. Since that time, we still have a housing readiness plan, if you will, because if people want houses, we got lots for them.
Now that the 26 other cities have been granted strong mayor powers, Boshkoff and City Manager Norm Gale say Thunder Bay will be moving ahead with the housing pledge, which the province is asking for. Boshkoff says although he doesn't feel the extra powers will be necessary in most situations, he feels there would be benefits to joining the other communities to spur on more housing here.
Yes, I am in favor of it because anything that will help expedite matters is probably a good thing in the right hands. In our community, I think it would only be in ensuring that site plan agreements and some of those things were accelerated. So I could see it having some gentle nudging benefits.
The Thunder Bay Public Library has released its master facilities plan, with the focus still being a centralized location at Intercity Shopping Centre. The possibility of closing down 2 neighbourhood branches is still among the options, with the decision ultimately falling on City Council at the end of the month. Vasilios Bellos reports.
It's a plan that would reshape library services in Thunder Bay.
We know there's people on both sides of this topic, as we would expect for any big change in the city.
The Thunder Bay Public Library has released its master facilities plan, which will be presented to Council on June 26th. The library has provided 3 scenarios, with its ideal one adding a central branch at Intercity Mall at the former Lowe's site and keeping the 4 neighborhood branches. That comes with it a $9.1 million price tag. The cost of staying with the status quo for service and locations comes in at $7.8 million, but CEO Richard Togman says that option is just not sustainable. The centralized location would add about 75,000 square feet, with Togman saying finding more space is crucial.
Turning away children wanting to attend our reading programs because we don't have enough programming space for them. And I'm sure that kind of breaks the heart of myself and every member of the community, knowing the way we're turning kids who want to read because we don't have the appropriate space.
The cheapest of the library's options would cost just over $7.6 million and includes the centralized location, but would see the closure of the County Fair and Brodie branches. During the consultation process, a survey did find the average respondent would be willing to pay between $34 and $43 a year to fund a new central location and keep the 4 existing ones. While the library is eyeing Intercity for that expansion, There's nothing preventing the mall from renting the space to another group.
This can't be a multi-year drawn-out process where maybe 5 years from now we get the space. It's not like you buy a plot of land and you can sit on it and wait for conditions to be right to build. There is some time pressure in this that for the mall to make it viable and for us to make it viable, we need to know the direction we're going.
Taugman does have individual meetings scheduled with councillors over the next week or so regarding the master facilities plan. That's in preparation for the council meeting at the end of the month, where it's expected council will decide what the future of libraries will look like in Thunder Bay. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
Thunder Bay's most iconic arena is getting closer to receiving its new exterior upgrades. The Fort William Gardens Improvement Plan will be brought to City Council this Monday for approval of the $1.4 million project. The Gardens first opened in 1951, and the city has committed to extending its lifespan for another 15 years. Recently, the Gardens has had issues with air infiltration and moisture. The ceilings in the arena and the curling rink are planned to be painted with a low reflective coating as part of the energy efficiency upgrades, as well as fully repaving and repairing the roof damage. The plans also include replacing the doors and windows that haven't been changed since the Gardens first opened 72 years ago. Construction Services Supervisor Kelvin Jankowski says the upgrades will help cut costs in the long run.
So the complete project building envelope and HVAC and operating renewal, I believe, in the neighborhood of $130,000 a year in savings, total operative savings. We won't see that obviously until the project's fully complete and until we see the numbers in, but that's the projected savings.
The project is expected to be approved by City Council on Monday night, but it's unclear when the work will actually begin. The Township of Ignace is one step closer to having a full council again. Council candidates hoping to fill the 2 vacant seats had a chance to pitch their vision for the municipality at last night's council meeting. Lee Noonan was there.
Ignace's 3 remaining council members evaluated presentations and questionnaires from prospective councillors, including former Ignace Mayor Penny Lucas.
People need a reason to stay, to come back to, or to come to Ignace. Without people, the community will become a whistle stop on the way to somewhere else. People require services, and services to survive require people.
Council commissioned the firm Expertise for Municipalities, or E4M, to design the process and had no advance knowledge of the questions posed to candidates. In addition to rating the in-person presentations, council members were also tasked with evaluating the candidates' answers to an anonymized questionnaire.
The very first question that you're going to have to provide a response to and will be, have you ever held a position on the Township of Ignace Council before? And yes or no. And council can determine whether or not it's an advantage to have been on council before or a disadvantage to have been on council before.
There are 9 candidates in the running for the 2 seats. Although only 6 presented to council, the 3 no-shows have not been disqualified. Interim Mayor Kim Bagri says she isn't looking for any particular skills or education, but rather for someone friendly who cares for the community.
Hopefully someone that gets along with everyone, transparent, cares for the community, and wants to do the job and work with council who is already on.
Bagri says a by-election would have cost between $60,000 and $100,000, and the decision to appoint was made for financial reasons. Council also made the choice to solicit applications from the general public rather than appoint from the list of runners-up in October's election.
We just chose that this would be the best way to do it, to open it up to maybe more people that wanted to apply, to give them a chance, to give more people a chance.
E4M will be compiling the scores for the questionnaires and presentations and will bring those evaluations to council. However, they say council will not be limited to appointing the highest scoring candidates. Council has accelerated their original timeline and is now committing to making a decision by July 3rd and swearing in the new councillors on the 4th. Just over 90 days after accepting the resignations of the mayor and deputy mayor, or about a month past the 60-day deadline to appoint new councillors. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
OPP are investigating the cause of a fire that destroyed 2 homes in a garage in Beardmore on Tuesday evening. Neighbors say the blaze broke out at around 8 o'clock. Both homes sustained major damage, along with many of the trees that surrounded the properties. Neighbors say local firefighters, along with volunteers, were quick to step in to stop the blaze from spreading any further. They were soon joined by backup crews from Geraldton, who aided in fighting the fire well into the night. An OPP spokesperson confirmed that investigation is ongoing, and the cause has yet to be determined. The interim chief of the Greenstone Fire Service has declined to comment on the situation. There are some major changes being made for the Lakehead School Board's cafeterias, with all 3 of its local high schools included. The change will eliminate the current model of school board employees preparing food for sale. Instead, the board is looking at contracting out food services for the next school year and eventually replacing it with food prepared by high school culinary students.
So the boards was spending closer to 300 as a net loss over the years. So it was projected to increase this year closer to 370. And it really came down to food costs, and salary and benefit costs have now made it unsustainable for the boards to continue that model.
Alexa continues that with the cost model that Lakehead Public School has, it just didn't make it sustainable to keep the food prices low for the kids. There is still a lot of uncertainty surrounding the impacts the changes in the cafeteria could make moving forward, as it is still in the early phases of planning. Sherry Lynn Farron is the Director of Education for the Public Board and details what the new model would ideally entail.
Well, we're very pleased to have been able to work with our CUPE union to be able to come to a solution together. And so I think that's the most important part, that we have a respectful working relationship with our unions, and we're able to work together to come to a solution. In the short term, we will be looking for a community that wish to come in and support our cafeterias.
Under the current model, there are 3 full-time cafeteria managers and 4 part-time members, which are all part of CUPE. CUPE has been part of the process to date and will be included in more of the finalized planning. Rodney McGee is the president for CUPE 2486 and states that current employees have collective agreement rights, and explains what this would mean for staff.
Different position, but with bumping and seniority, right? Like there will be, we tried to mitigate working with the board on keeping as many jobs as possible. But there usually, when you go into the bumping procedure, there is fallout at the bottom, and we're not sure what those numbers are yet because it has to go through that process.
The new model still needs to be ratified at the next school board meeting on June 27th, with the goal of the tender model beginning in September for Westgate, Hammersholt, and Superior Collegiate High School, with the board members hopeful for a student-supportive model in the future. After less than 2 years on display at the Pool 6 dock, the historic Brill trolley buses will soon be relocated to their new home. The buses are headed to the Oliver Papoonge Heritage Park, formerly known as the Founders Museum. Dating back to the 1940s, underwent a full restoration more than a decade ago. In 2021, they were brought to the Pool 6 to be part of the Transportation Museum. But after a falling out between the Museum Society and buddies of the Brill's president, Charlie Brown, over the past year, Brown decided to find a new location for the buses. He's now signed a 2-year lease with the municipality of Oliver Papoonge to move them to the Heritage Park on Highway 61, right across from the Russ's Garage Classic Car Display. Brown says he's optimistic about the move and the opportunity to show off the Brill buses to the public at their new home.
We're looking to go in a positive direction, and I think this is the way to go. We can grow when we're out at the Heritage Park. I think with all the development around here, it's going to kind of limit us in the future. So we're looking for new opportunities, and I think this is something really positive, and we invite the public out to see us. And as Willie Nelson sings, we're on the road again.
The buses are currently sitting under protective tarps at Pool 6. They will be taken by their preferred carrier once a flatbed is available to them, possibly as early as the end of this month. Well, Fiona, today was fairly beautiful out there. I actually got to get out and enjoy the sun.
It was just gorgeous. It wasn't so warm that you couldn't enjoy it. A nice breeze from the east-southeast, anywhere from 4 to 20 kilometers per hour, but loads of sun, and even more sun. That was after an early morning low of 5. We warmed up to 23 Celsius, so right on par for this time of year. More sunshine to the west at this time and similar temperatures. Thunder Bay is currently at 22. We've got 23 in Upsala and Dryden. Fort Frances, Atikokan at 24. Just a few clouds to the west up into Red Lake. We've got a little bit more cloud cover trying to push their way in. It's been mostly cloudy most of the day, but they too have seen very seasonal temperatures. They're currently at their high of 23. Sioux Lookout, Armstrong matching that, as is Greenstone with nothing but sun. Slightly cooler along the North Shore, but only just by a couple of degrees. And then we hit Sault Ste. Marie. They have been experiencing much cooler temperatures the last couple of days, and they added a few degrees to their daytime high. They're currently at 17, and they have lots of sunshine there as well. Now, here in the city of Thunder Bay, we are going to drop down to a low of 9 tonight, and we could see some patchy cloud move in. Little bit of a disturbance to the west, but for the weekend, we are going to see the temperatures rise ever so slightly on Saturday. Unfortunately, they'll slip again on Sunday. There is going to be some sunshine, but there's also a risk of a shower or two. So it looks like we're going to get maybe a little bit of everything over the weekend, and I'll have more details on how that will pan out for your forecast later on in the news hour.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Well, we first brought you the news of that tragic bus crash yesterday in Manitoba. Well, the impact is being felt everywhere, but especially in Dauphin. That's where the bus departed from. We'll have all those details for you as your Friday News Hour continues.
We're talking every day to people who know somebody has family on the bus.